Why I'm not able to? Am I audible? Okay, okay. I'm not able to hear any voice, so I thought even I am not audible. Okay, so are you sure I am audible to you, right? Okay, good. Okay, so basically, I was asked to share my experience to you people. So I have even made a small PPT. Let me try to share it to you on this content. Yeah. Is the PPT visible to you? Right. Thank you, Prasad. So I am Sabyasachi Kumar, 2014 batch IRS. In 2013 UPSC exam, my rank was 304. So automatically I got IRS. I'm currently posted in Kolkata as Deputy Commissioner of Income Tax in the investigation wing from last 3 years. Okay, so the experience sharing part, I will just share my story, a small story of how I did my preparation. Not because that was the best way to prepare, but because I did some mistakes, and my mistakes may help you in your preparation. My connection with you guys is that I was also employed in Bangalore. I am a software engineer, and I did job for 5 years actually in Bangalore, 3 years in Huawei, in Indiranagar, and then in Ericsson, India for 2.5 years almost. So after that, I had plans to do MS in USA, and I did ZRE and everything. Got admission into Carnegie Mellon University and University of Southern California. By the time I was about to go there, this idea came to my mind that okay, once I go out, I will not come back. So that idea was very fearing for me because who will come back after spending a lot of money? You will at least need 5 years to pay that money. So after that, you should be there to earn some money so that you can come here maybe after 20 years and do something here. So that idea I had to give up. So what was the next best idea? What can I do in India? No, there is IIM and then this UPSC. There are two exams. So I had little bit thinking of doing some good for the society. Now idealistic things came to my mind, and I started preparation for UPSC. So in the beginning, I was that time I was in Ericsson, and I tried to appear for this exam with very less preparation. Before I started 3 to 4 months before PT exam, and I was working also, so I tried to give my best. So in the morning hours, like 2 to 3 hours in the morning, 2 to 3 hours in the evening. I even tried to give some time in office also uh, during lunchtime and also that I can read the newspaper part there. But overall, my preparation was completely guideless. Nobody was guiding me. I was doing everything on my own because I had no time to go to coaching also. So somehow I did wrote PT exam. It was in May, I think. May. After writing the PT exam, I was sure that I will not qualify. So I stopped preparation also. So I thought, okay, I have to prepare the next year anyway. I will start it slowly. And 2 months passed, and then PT result came, and I qualified in the PT exam. So now I had a very big question now in front of me. What should I do now? I had hardly 3 months left after that for the mains exam. So now I started everything. started studying everything. I even went to Delhi that time. I took long leave from my office. I did not quit my job. I made some excuse. I lied to them that I have this back pain and doctor has asked me for 6 months rest. So I created this excuse and I took. Basically, I'm even telling you that you can do this in another way, another language. Anyway, I went to Delhi for 3 months. I joined some crash course so that I can finish all the topics. I even tried to. I selected my option of that time only. Anyway, you could understand what would be the result in this case. I gave exam somehow, and to my surprise, I did not qualify anyway. But the marks difference of the qualifying person and my marks were uh, something like 50 to 60 marks, which means if I had somehow got 50 to 60 marks, now this 50 to 60 marks, why I'm saying it very that I later you'll come to know what is the importance and how you could have easily got this 50 to 60 marks, but I had no idea at that time. So I did not qualify, but this still gave me some encouragement that okay, I can fill this gap in the next attempt. Next attempt, I was completely serious about this exam. I in fact got married in December, just after mains exam, and then I came to Bangalore. I quit my job and I started full-fledged preparation in Bangalore itself. In Bangalore, there was one coaching institute named JTS. It was a very average kind of. Why I'm saying this also because most of the people will tell you go to Delhi and prepare because that is the only way, that is the only heaven where you can prepare and you cannot prepare it somewhere else. But Bangalore is a good enough place and there are good enough institutes and you are already one of them. So that JTS institute did not give me a lot of guidance that I could might have got in maybe some Delhi institute that I knew them to be like that. But the coaching institutes gives you at least a broad idea of what you have to study, and they teach you also. But still, something you miss out in that classes that they conduct. That they are actually in the hindsight they are giving you a broad idea. The biggest challenge in this exam is what you have to study and what you do not have to study. Most of the time, even I wasted in studying those things which were not important. Now, why this happens, this I will tell you. I will one of the slides for that small topic on that. Why this happens? Because you start covering one of the topics and you do not know how much you have to study. Now, topic name is something like that. Some small any term is there given in the syllabus, but how much you have to study on that you do not know. And every day you read newspaper, you think, okay, this thing is connected to that thing, that topic. Maybe this is also important. You start preparation of notes, and there is no end. You read so many things, and later you forget everything. You do not revise because you do not have time to revise. You do not do writing practices because you don't have time to do that. Also, you have to read so much, and most of the time you will spend in reading and reading and reading and reading. And after 6 months, when you look back at what you have read 6 months back earlier, you will find that you will not even recollect that you have studied this or not. So this the kind of information that goes inside your brain later after a few months of preparation. There's so much information in there that you start forgetting everything. So okay, I will now go to this. Try to go through this slide. I prepared like on my own some common myths. Now, uh, okay, first of all, there is one very I forgot to write about that. That a lot of people start preparation by thinking that I'll prepare for PT exam first, and then I will prepare for men's exam. So this I am sure that your coaching teachers would have already told you that there is no separate preparation for PT and men's. The PT is as conceptual as men's. In fact, it's more conceptual. There are multiple choice questions. You know that two or three or a number of them can be right. A number of them are could be interlinked. So there is no forget that funda in your brain itself that you are going to do separate preparation for both of them. Ideally, before 2 months before PT exam, you should focus only on PT, and that also by doing lot of test series, a lot of questions, revisions. That's all. There is nothing else, nothing much difference between PT and mains. Your idea now should be to prepare only for mains and mains. Okay, I will come to the schedule part later. Another okay myths. So this happened with me also, that I used to think that I will not be able to qualify because there are a lot of students, they are trying to prepare, and maybe I'm not so brilliant. So this doubt was always with me throughout preparation. Even after giving exam, after every result comes, this doubt will be there. Okay, why I will be selected? There are lakhs of students who are writing the exam. Why they will not be selected? Who am I actually? That am I so brilliant or so smart? So the fundamental question here is, who can qualify? So after this many years being in service, I have seen so many students who are not brilliant in studies, who are not from IIT or IIM or some big institute, but still they have qualified. There is something very fundamentally important in the preparation strategy that a lot of people misses. A lot of IITians are out of this exam league. They could not qualify. If they have qualified IIT, they are brilliant, no doubt about that. But it's not a guarantee success for UPSC exam. And there are a lot of students. I have my batchmate, at least two batchmates, who did their graduation from IGNOU only, sitting at home, and they are here. So there is some fundamental difference between the strategies adopted by those who qualify and those who do not qualify. I think I will come to that later also. Another notion of which some people is that I am smart. Maybe okay, 10 almost 10 lakh people appear in my time. I think now also that many people will be appearing. But somehow some people get this notion that I am okay. Let all of them prepare. I need only one seat. I am very smart, and I can manage. Now this I am saying with respect to those people who are working actually, or maybe who has one only last attempt remaining with them, uh, and still they are. I have my own cousin actually who was working and who was, it was his last attempt, and I told him to be very serious, but he thought that he can qualify somehow. He could not in the end. He could not clear even PT, and he's also in Bangalore actually. So do not think that you are too smart, because UPSC is always smarter than you. But again, it's not impossible to crack for anybody. That mark my word, there are a lot of people who might be average students. I think majority of the students who are doing UPSC are average students in their classes, in their school time, because this doesn't test your technical knowledge like in IT exam or in IIM. IIM test your speed. This doesn't. It's testing something very different thing. It's testing your general awareness. And when you will see the question they ask in uh, PT and mains, it's actually general awareness. We should be knowing those things, but actually we do not know because we have not studied did our schooling very well. Okay. Another notion is that if you work hard, you will succeed. Work hard is important, but only working hard is not important. You have to work hard anyway, but this doesn't guarantee a success. There are a lot of other things that will come later. Okay, another thing is some people write exam just okay. इस बार देते हैं. Let's see. Let's write this time. How it goes, then I will learn from that experience, that exam, that how I should prepare. No, forget all this crap thing, because don't waste your attempt. If you are not prepared, don't give the exam. And when you give it in such a way that you cut it, you clear it. Otherwise, don't give. Don't waste in all this idea. Better keep your attempt remaining with you. This will help you in future, because sometimes what happens, you are thinking that I will be writing this year, somehow you do not qualify, then you will, even though you have in mind that you will be clearing in one attempt, first attempt only, otherwise you will not be preparing. This might be your idea in the beginning, but once you do write the exam and if you do not qualify, automatically this temptation of writing again will come, and it will be very hard, because you have done so much of work, so much of hard work, that you cannot let it go. So you will prepare again. So this again and again will go on until you exhaust all your chances most of the time. Most of the people, not for everybody. I know Pawan, he did not do that, and he was smart enough. Uh, Other than that, how it will help you that suppose you get into a service, but it's not the top notch IS, IPS, or ILS. Some other service you are getting. Even if you are getting IRS, a lot of IRS people also write again so that he can get IS. So that will be there anyway. But IS is a top service, there is no doubt about it. So you will always want, even if you come into service, you will want to write that exam again. So keep the attempt with you. Don't waste in trial and error. Oh, like I wasted one of my attempts. However, I did not use it. That's a different story. Okay. Same thing. Some people I have observed this in Delhi when I was for 4 months I was in Delhi. Just before that, I told you that story. Before the men's exam of 2012. So there are people who think that I have so many attempts. For general, there are I think still four attempts only. Maybe it has changed. I don't know. Uh, but no, the beginning with this thought that I have this many attempts and I will keep on writing. This is the biggest mistake I think in preparation. You have to think that I am only one attempt. Otherwise, you will keep. No, I have seen literally my roommate only. He had 7 attempts actually, and he is still writing. I think I don't know. He might have got fed up, but always he had this idea. Okay, this year maybe my preparation is not good. While preparing, also he was like that only. So if anybody has this idea, forget this. Think only you have one lifetime. That's all. Only 1 year. Otherwise, you are not going to qualify. Okay, and then this and that guy, this XYZ, studied this way, and he got succeed. He got the success. I will also follow the same strategy. This will also not work because everybody, the methods of preparation are so different. Maybe the as many number of DNAs are there in this universe, that many methods of preparation are there. But there are some fundamental things that are same for everybody. What to study, how to practice, that remains same. That always you have to follow. Don't follow anybody else's style because everybody is different. Everybody is different capability. Have faith in your own self. Another this idea that I come to hear from many students are that the science students have an edge, or IT and IM. I've already told about this. IT and IM students can cut it easily. This is also not during the CSAT era when CSAT marks were added. It was to some extent it was right. But I think you already understand it. This time has also gone. So you have to prepare on paper one in PT more seriously and forget all who is in this whole of universe, who else is preparing and how intelligent the other guy is. Only gaining knowledge. Okay, this I covered in a bit that lot of people do lot of research. They go into depth, so much depth that is not required actually. Gaining knowledge is not important unless you are able to express your knowledge. I will come to it a bit later also. Mastery of English language is a must. Now, one thing I would like to make it very clear that nothing is must. Nothing is must. Could be could be the worst student in your school time. Still, you can qualify with the right strategy. This you have to get imbibe into your mind. Mastery of English language is not important. We feel that they have an edge. I feel they have an edge. Why? Because if you are writing in a different language, if I, for example, I say somebody is writing in Hindi, the writing speed becomes slow because of cursive writing in English. No, it's faster. So in lesser time, you might be able to write more rather than any other language. But if it's like some other language from South India, maybe Kannada or Malayalam, if you are able to write fastly, then that gap is gone. And in fact, you have an edge if you are writing in your local language. That edge is that your paper will be corrected by local people. Now, those who are from your own state, now they will have a soft corner. Don't quote me all this thing anywhere. They will have a soft corner for you. So you get that edge also. So actually, it's a um, what you lose not writing English, you gain out there also. So it's almost same thing. There is nothing to lose in what language you are using, and you should be able to, even you lot of English students or some other language students write exam in English, you should only be able to express yourself. Don't make silly grammatical mistakes. That is important. Otherwise the impression goes wrong. Otherwise you don't need to be a like English professor to write answers. And in fact, one of my roommates in Delhi, he was my college friend from Kerala. uh, he was very good in English. I mean, he can write a novel. This kind of English he was possessing, but after 6 attempts also he could not qualify. Okay, I forgot to tell you that I studied in Cochin University in Kerala. I did BTech from there, and after that I was in Bangalore. Okay, another thing is that a lot of fear comes because lakhs of students are preparing, so that you automatically feel very low. That okay, how can I qualify among all these lakhs of students? So know it for sure that at most, maximum, only 50,000 students are serious. Lot of students are doing this and that and also giving attempt. They are not serious. Even though 10 lakh people are writing, maximum 50,000 people are serious, and out of that, those who qualify PT, that figure is around 15,000. They are the only people who are your competitors. So in the end, you will have only 15 to 20,000 people to compete with you, and they are actually serious candidates. So forget this lakhs of students idea for you. You have only that many students, but they are very good students, and you could be out of 15,000, you could be 15,000 in rank in PT. That you of course don't want to be. So you have to compete with these many people only. Okay, another problem which I faced in my during my preparation is that once exam questions are exam is the last year exam happened, suppose. Now a lot of books will advertise that okay, 5 to 6 or 10 or 50 questions come from this book. So people will run to buy that book and read that book, spend time studying that book, or even coaching guys will anyway do this coaching. So many people qualified. No, lot of things are behind this. Don't go for that book if any book claims that so many questions. Unless it is a good book. If it is a good book, your teachers have already suggested to you. Read it. That's the only funda. Otherwise, if suppose really some book from some of the book, a lot of questions came. Now this their advertisement reaches UPSC office also. Next year UPSC will make sure that it doesn't ask from that book. So your effort will be wasted. Especially don't buy that book only for because of that purpose. If it is already a good book and you have been suggested, that is good enough. It's even better actually. And don't run for this coaching or that coaching wherever you are. I'm sure, at least I know Pawan very well. He will guide you because I qualified from JTS. I don't think anybody else qualified from there. My only quality was that I was very serious. I was very committed towards the UPSC preparation, and I would also suggest you that have only one goal, have only one thing in mind at one time. If you have so many things, doing so many things like preparing for state PSC also. State PSC, I would suggest don't prepare at all. So it's my experience. Do not prepare it at this time. If you have exhausted your attempt of UPSC, then only go for state PSC. Have only very clear goal that you have to qualify for UPSC, and you have to get into either IAS or IPS or foreign service. Don't even think of that you have to come into the list. Coming into the list is also important. Despite being IAS, I would say I did not utilize my next attempts because I had some other things to do. Have that thing in mind, then you may fall somewhere. Lot of you will become IAS, lot of you will become IFS and IPS also. But still, getting into list is very important. It gives you a kick, and you may prepare next year, or even whatever service you are there in. There are a lot of reforms already going on in all the services. Everything is important. Every service is important now. Next. Okay, this actually I will mostly you should remember. Okay, Why you should remember the syllabus? No, this is very typical thing. You might be sounding funny actually. What you will gain by remembering the syllabus? So remembering the syllabus is actually I'm basically writing those things which I did a mistake. I did not know my syllabus, and because of this, I used to study a lot of things which are not in syllabus also. Because I used to basically go beyond syllabus sometimes without realizing that it's not important actually. So to contain yourself to a certain boundary, you should remember your syllabus, because every day you will be reading newspaper, current affairs, and mostly even in optionals, you will have to relate your topic to the current affairs news. And if you remember the syllabus, you automatically get this idea that okay, if I put this also in the answer, some of the answer of that topic, it will help me. That is the one benefit. Another benefit is you do not go out of reach. No? You do not become unreachable. You do not keep studying those things which are not important. So you must not like remembering it by heart. I don't mean that, but go through it many times. Or maybe once a week, go through your syllabus. It's a very very important thing. And also, since the syllabus has changed in 2013 exam itself, from that onwards, you must have gone through the questions of every year. Though these things a lot of people miss by thinking, okay, I will do it later. I will do it later. Don't do that. Do it today itself. Actually, today or tomorrow, whenever you are having time, do this thing. You should even remember those things. What questions they ask, because then only you will be able to relate to new questions that might be asked. Because this kind of question was asked. Okay, this could be a question next year. Limited resources, multiple revisions. The most fundamental, there are only two principles I would say: revision, writing practice. Revision, writing practice. This should resound in your mind all the time. You don't have to keep reading and studying new topics for months. I already covered it a bit, but the idea is that you should limit yourself to few books only. One topic, one book. If you are following, suppose reading geography, no, NCRT or GC Leong, and maybe one more book. That's all. Like I only followed GC Leong and NCRT, and I found it for because my optional is not geography, so that was good enough for me. It more or less it covered all the questions of PT and even mains. So for world geography, GC Leong, what I'm trying to tell you that you limit yourself to a small number of books, but you have to read it multiple times, maybe if possible 10 times. Like in quality, somebody would be reading Lakshmikant, somebody would be reading Didi Basu. Don't read both. No point in reading both of them. Lakshmikant is very precise book, and Didi Basu is very intelligent book actually. If you are into Didi Basu, some people will find difficulty in understanding it in the beginning. If you are finding it difficult, don't read. Nobody is asking you. Nobody is going to ask you in the interview also that have you read Didi Basu. Lakshmikant is crisp, and to the point. It's actually to the point. You remember read Lakshmikant 6, 7 times, 10 times. Not a single question in PT you will miss. That is given. But if you try to read Lakshmikant also, some coaching materials also, I would suggest don't read coaching materials also. It's not required. If the Lakshmikant is written as such a good book, why to go for this? Then coaching materials are important for those topics for which there is no book. In that case, you follow the coaching materials or internet sources. Otherwise, read one book 10 times. This should for there is one history book, small history book. India is what brief history of modern India. Yeah, Rajiv Ahir's book. Now that book you read it 10 times. Every question more hardly see one or two questions in PT you will anyway miss, but most of the questions you will be able to answer. It has everything for mains. India is struggle for independence. That period, it has everything. You don't have to go for that Bipin Chandra's book. History optional students have to read that. Why you have to read that? Same for every subject. Go for a smaller book but good book, which most of the people are reading. I'm sure that your coaching, Pawan, they would have already told you about which book to read. Just make it this thing very clear, because later you are not going to, you will mess up. If you read two three books in history only for on the same thing, same topic, it's complete waste of time. And you, even if you qualify, you will be losing lot of you know the potential rank that you could have got otherwise. The conceptual clarity will not come if you keep reading so many things, but you are not revising anything. Okay. Okay, this is one of the most important questions for those students who are working. If you are very good at your work, and you are at a very responsible position at your work, and you have to spend a lot of time, you have to take calls in the night, or you have to work on weekends, then it's really going to be difficult. A number of candidates have cleared the exam even while working, but all of them, whoever I know, they were in some one or another PSU. You so basically, the idea is that if you are able to get some time in the morning and evening, then it's possible. Actually, it's still possible, but weekend should be yours, completely yours, and you do not have time for entertainment. That is given thing. If you can do that, so then it is manageable. It's not impossible, but it is really difficult. So if you so you see the questions I have written, whether 2 3 hours in morning and 4 hours in the evening can be managed. Idea is to study for 6 to 8 hours minimum, maximum 10 hours. Beyond 10 hours, nobody studies, and you should not study also. But if you are able to get at least 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours, then it is manageable. And can you spend some time in office for reading news articles, etc., like during lunch, or in the evening, or in the morning when you go, or like in between any time? Internet will be anyway available to you. I think you might not be working in a company like Huawei who do not give access to internet also. It's very limited access there. So if that you can do, then it means it's possible. You can prepare while working also. And can you downsize yourself? Or if you can downsize means what? Downsize is basically a concept. Downsize means giving a new turn to your career, to your life actually. Some people downsize. I know a very good software engineer, very senior to me actually. He downsized me. He became a photographer and traveling enthusiast. He is living life like ascetic. This is downsizing actually. Complete. Uh, if forget your earnings, forget your income, live very simple life. This is basically downsizing. I'm using this concept here for different purpose. I am using this for downsizing. For me, for working people means that you stop giving a lot of importance to your work for some time, for the duration of your preparation only for 1 year, because you cannot have both. You might somebody might have, I do not know anybody, any such person who was doing very good work also, and was preparing also, and yet he qualified and he got a very good rank also. I have not met any such person. So downsize yourself. So how you can downsize yourself? Two three ideas that I can think of is like get assigned to some project which is very less work, some crap kind of work. Nobody asks you. No, there is no time limit, timeline for anything. If it is possible, then that is very good for you. You will be able to spend a lot of time in office also for preparation. Move to a company with lesser work, even if they pay you less. Like some, I don't know. There will be a lot of there are a lot of companies in don't go to startup. They will take a lot of work. Go to even some big company, maybe TCS or some IBM, any company you can think of. For example, TCS, IBM, you will be sitting on a bench also. If you sit on a bench also, it's good for you. You will have time for preparation. So you might think of switching your company, but don't waste time in this. Don't waste time in preparation for interview in another company. That will be countereffective. Have a thick skin in office. Thick skin means now if you are not giving a lot of time to your work, your boss may be angry with you, may taunt you. Have a thick skin means let him do whatever he's doing. Don't bother, because yeah. Take a long leave. No, this idea I followed actually. Take a long leave. I lied to my office, to my company that I have. I told you already. Don't quote me anywhere. I took 6 months leave without pay actually. This is one of the ideas. Take medical leave. So you have to somehow stretch it to 1 year. If you can take leave without pay or a medical leave, oh, there is nothing better than that. You have your job also, and you are doing full-time preparation also. You will not get payment for 1 year. That is fine if you are able to qualify in the exam. The cost is very less actually. Because again, see there will be at least 50,000 people who are very serious, who will hit you in the PT exam itself, and a lot of them, 95% of them are full-time givers. They are preparing full time. You are giving less time. So to reduce that gap, if you get this kind of leave, this is a much better idea for anybody. No, this I always. If you are half prepared, don't prepare. If you are not serious, actually, don't prepare. You will not qualify. That is guaranteed. Quitting job, a good option. Depends actually. Quitting job does not guarantee that you will become an officer. You will be qualified, but it is heavily increase your chances. You know why it increase your chances? Because so many things are at stake that you do not have any other option than to succeed. This worked for me also. I quit my job and I had nothing to do actually. And I did that fear of what will happen if I do not qualify. That always, every day, I used to have that fear that I have to qualify. I have to qualify. No, this is a very great motivator for you. I'm not encouraging anybody to quit your job. No, because it's your choice actually. But the kind of preparation UPSC needs, the kind of subjects, variety of subjects you have to study, and different phases are there. Mains, PT, then mains, then interview. Interview needs a very different kind of preparation. That will come later after you have done this, gone through this mains exam. So much of things are needed. So much of revision is needed. So you have to go to depth in, not a lot of depth, but to some depth in every topic. Shallow knowledge will not help you. The kind of time it needs. If you can get 1 year without quitting job, that is good enough. Otherwise, quitting is also a motivating factor. Now, for this, I know I have my favorite scene from the movie Dark Knight Rises. I think I've written the dialogue somewhere. Yeah, the scene is like there is a kid which tries to jump out of a well, like there is a jail in lowland, in the beneath the earth, below the earth, and out of a well that girl has to jump out to become free. And the Bruce Wayne, he also gets into that jail, and he also tries to come out of that jail by jumping out from there, and he falls all the time. And then he's told by one of the inmates that you should try to jump like that girl did. So he said, how should? Okay, till now he was trying to jump with a rope, with a support, so that if he doesn't jump out of that hole, he falls on the rope, so he doesn't get hurt. So he tried that many times, and he's not coming out of the well. So that inmate tells him that if you jump out of the well, like that girl did do, like the girl did, and Bruce Wayne asks him, how did she do it? Then he tells him that she jumped without a rope. It means if she falls from there, she will die actually, because it's very deep. In the end, Bruce Wayne also does same thing. He doesn't use that rope, and then he jumps, and then he jumps out. In fact, that was the time I was also preparing, and this also motivated me to quit my job. That job is that rope, no, that support. You always think that okay, even if I do not qualify UPSC, that job is there to save me. Once that thing is also gone, You are left with no option but to qualify, and this fear will keep you motivated every day. That what will happen to me, and I will tell you a real incident of my own actually. After writing my mains exam, no, again I was not sure that I will qualify mains. Like earlier, I was not sure I will qualify PT. This time, I was sure may not qualify mains also. So I started looking for job because I had always in mind that I will prepare only for 1 year. After that, I will not prepare. And same thing I told you also, that have that thing only in mind. So I was serious about it. I started looking for job. I had a very good job in Huawei. Uh, Even in Ericsson, I was a developer in protocol development basically, work on routers. So after quitting my job, I started looking for job again, and to my surprise, I had forgotten everything. 90% of the things I had forgotten because of so many new information coming to my mind because of this preparation. I forgot everything, and I was not. I appeared for 2 interviews, and I was not qualified. That fear, you know, started coming to me. That, okay, what will happen to me? But then after that, means the result came. I qualified. Then I was fully engaged for interview, and then the interview result came. I qualified. I got through it. But so this, I told you this story to make you more fearful. That if you no, I was still sure that I will get job somehow. I may not get very good salary because I have forgotten or lost 1.5 year in the between. I was not updating myself, but still I was sure that I will get some job somewhere. I will not die of hunger. That assurance was there with me. So that's what. If you quit job, be very serious. Have your planning for your finances. Some backup should be there, and then you make good job for 1 year. This will automatically guide you to success. And I hope those who are in job, good paying job, and they are quitting, they have more stake of qualifying because the thing is at stake is very high, and the higher the stake, the more chances of qualifying the exam. But still, it's not guaranteed also. So you take a call. I would suggest that there is no harm because you are trying a very different thing in your life. There is no harm in giving one chance to it. Now, this I have written this quote from Dark Knight here. Maybe you can. I have uploaded the PPT. It's not important. I've told you the theme actually. The last line is, "As a child did without the rope, then fear will find you again." The common mistakes what we do. These are the most common mistakes and very crucial mistakes in the preparation time. So I'm not able to hear anybody. No, I'm feeling like very monotonous kind of feeling. I'm getting like anybody is listening also or not. I don't know. Anyway, actually, there is one IS officer in Kerala cadre. Her name is Priyanka Govindaraju. When she became IS, she thanked me in her Facebook page. Me and one more guy. So I was surprised that why she has thanked me. What was my role in her this thing, in her success? So but then I remember that my wife's colleague, guy, he was prepared for UPSC, and this girl was his girlfriend. She also they came to me when I had qualified my exam, and I had given them one lecture kind of thing only, and she was inspired by that lecture somehow, and she was got very serious in this thing preparation, and she became IS. And for that only maybe 1 hour she thanked me. I feel very delighted, and that's why I told Pawan also. Maybe he told me to give a talk. I thought maybe it helps somebody. I think so. Then it's good. Might help some of the students. So she said that 1 hour lecture changed her complete opinion about the exam, and it aided in her success also. So that way, might be this will help some of you. Oh, ignoring this, no, it's most of my mistakes or some other candidates' mistakes who have qualified, but um, they could have done better. Ignoring the revision. No, you will always be prompted by yourself that I will revise later because I have to read new thing. I will revise later. Or every day this thing will come to your mind. But don't get tempted by this. You should have your own time frame for revision every day, because you will have this tendency that once I finish everything, then only I will start revision. Just a second, just a second. Getting a call. But that will never happen, because once you finish everything, you will forget everything also. From the beginning until when you start reading next time, you will think you are reading for the first time. It's because this happens because you have not revised it properly. So, how you should revise? When you should revise? From the first day itself, I think you have already prepared for 3 to 4 months. So now maybe the right time you should start your revision. And what to revise, and what not to revise. Like if you are reading news articles, you don't have to revise it. Uh, if you are reading some subject, whatsoever, history, geography, polity, those things you have to keep revising every day. Current affairs also you have to keep revising, but current affairs only those things which are found to be important. After end of the month, you will be coming through a lot of magazines. Uh, I'm sure that your tutors are also sharing that to you. Some magazine that is good enough. You have to buy that only. I will tell you one more thing, that it is also not important to read newspaper. I am not discouraging you from reading newspaper, because there are candidates who have not read newspaper at all, but they have also qualified. And how they have qualified? Because somebody else is already doing that job for you. Somebody else is finding the important topics out of daily news and putting that into a magazine. Current affairs magazine. So if they have already done that, why you should also uh, waste time in doing the same thing? Why not use their knowledge? Okay, so there are lot of people who have uh, studied only those magazines, monthly magazines, current affairs magazines, and they have done it. So if that saves your time, especially for working people, you might consider doing this. But you cannot completely ignore the current affairs. You still have to read the editorial pages, editorial and op-ed if possible, especially editorial pages. Why that is important? It's not important for current affairs thing. It's important for many things actually. It actually changes your opinion. You will start having your own opinion. An opinion is very important in while writing the answer. Before you start the preparation, you actually do not. I had no opinion about anything. I used to see the news in the TV, and I used to think that I know everything. But once you start reading the editorial pages, you will get depth about lot of topics, and that depth is enough. Actually, you do not have to go deeper. That gives you enough depth about a number of topics. So, how to think critically, that newspaper items help you in that. The editorial pages, how to think critically. You will see that newspaper on the left side there are two. If I'm following the Hindu or Indian Express, anything, there are two articles always. Uh, those two always gives you both views, positive views as well as negative views about anything they are talking about. So that is actually the right way of writing answer also in UPSC. You have to cover everything, both aspects. So you will learn. It will imbibe itself inside you, that how you are going to write answer. How many ways there are of thinking. How many diverse topics, diverse subjects you can bring into that. So this will help you greatly, not only in updating your knowledge, even your reading speed will increase, because in PT paper 2, you have English passages also. Like in IM students, they read also Hindu newspaper, because reading fastly also becomes a habit. So that you cannot escape. But for other topics, there are magazines, so you can take it, but it's not the only way. You read newspaper. I'm not discouraging you again. Okay. The important part is that it is not necessary that you complete every topic of the UPSC syllabus, but it is very much necessary to revise whatever you have studied. Even if you have covered 80%, 70%, but you remember them well, nobody can stop you from qualifying the exam. And this is another most important mistake 99% of 95% of candidates will do, that they do not practice writing. They ignore writing practices and test series from the beginning because they always think that पहले PT निकालना है. First I have to qualify the PT exam. Then only writing is going to help me. But this is also not true because writing improvements needs lot of time. Writing skill improvement needs lot of time. Writing is the single most factor that separates successful candidate from unsuccessful candidate. Single most. Revision and writing. Always keep in your mind. Because if you practice writing, then only you are able to express yourself properly. You may have whole universe in your mind, knowledge of everything in your mind, but if you are not able to write, your knowledge is useless actually for UPSC exam. It might help you in something else, but not for this exam. And you gain less knowledge, but you are able to express effectively. That is far better than having lot of knowledge. So that's why you have to practice, and without practice, it doesn't come. It's not natural. Some of you might be thinking that okay, I have natural talent for writing. I will do it in less time. See, I qualified in less time only because I had no idea of this. But I miss that. I could have improved my rank if I had done this earlier. Because I saw some of the candidates, successful candidates, who did only writing practice for 1 year actually. Which this means that they had qualified earlier in the exam. They were already some officer in some service. A whole 1 year they did writing practice, only test series, and he became IS. In fact, our batch topper is one of such guy. So this is so important. This can make you a UPSC topper. Depends on how much time you are able to give to it. Plan for numerous test series. How many this I think your tutors will guide you better. There is no limit. There are people who have written more than 100 tests. I just told you know that one guy whole year he only wrote tests only. So there is no limit. As much as possible, 100, 200. If you can write that many tests, the better you are. It's not does not only improve your writing skill, it improves your memory also. It lets you know that where you are lacking, what you have read but you have not remembered, because after writing you will go and cover the topic again. It's a revision come writing practice actually. And also another thing is that I think I'm sure that you one of the idea is to share answer sheets of good candidates. What I used to do in my time that I had one test series from Delhi. I was preparing Bangalore actually. Full preparation was in Bangalore except those 4 months. And I used to have test series from Delhi because nobody was doing this in Bangalore that time. And they used to publish the answer sheets of other candidates also. So I used to see other students, those who got better marks than me, how they are writing, and this greatly helps you. So you should try to know those who are getting good marks in your coaching itself should read their answers, and also try to explore more such answers from your friends. Somebody is preparing some other institute, or if you are doing some test series other than your normal course, from those test series you should try to find the answers of good candidates, those who are getting good marks. This is what I said. They display those answers online, so you should try to read them as much as possible. Okay, how to start writing? The first question is, should you start writing a test itself in the beginning? It will not work in my when you okay. Somebody is asking me when you started the writing practice, as we are in the starting of the preparation. Ideally, after you have finished 3 to 4 months of preparation or 6 months, you should start writing, because I will actually share you the ideal way for that also. See, before prior to earlier, if your exam is suppose PT exam in August, 2 months before August, you should stop preparing and writing also, and prepare only on your PT exam. But writing should start after 3 to 4 months of your preparation, because it will take some time to improve. In the beginning, do not write a test. Write a question and take your time, because you will need time to recollect in your mind what you have read, and then you write the answer. Later, when you have done lot of writing practice, though that recollection will become automatic. Your pen will write. Your hands will automatically write for you. It will become so automatic, and that is the target actually. Everything should come in your hand directly from your mind. Because if you cover every topic, write 2 3 questions on every topic. It might be previous year question. It might be some random question. You can create question yourself also, that this is my question in your question. I will write answer for this. So the idea is to grasp everything so that it becomes a ready-made thing. When you write in your exam, it automatically comes to your mind, and you don't waste your time in thinking, because in the mains exam, that is one of the biggest challenge. You do not have time to think only. There are so many questions that if you spend even 1 minute in thinking, you will not be able to finish all the questions. So actually, you have to think and write. It goes simultaneously. It happened with me also, that the question is there and I do not have time to think. I start writing and I'm thinking also what I have to write next time. So the idea is to make it so soundproof that you do not have to think only. You just have to write. So please practice as many test series as possible. And after PT exam, you should only do test series. Your preparation should be over 2 months before PT. At most by PT, your preparation should be over. And obviously, don't wait for PT result. That will be very foolish. Don't think you have not qualified. Imagine you have qualified and you prepare for men's. Even if you do not qualify your PT, that preparation for men's will help you next year. Don't discourage or encourage yourself by the results. This I anyway told already. Uh, 2 months I told on this thing already. Okay. This is very important thing. Essay writing. This is also one of the thing many candidates miss. I also missed it. I did not do any practice. I had no time, because I was reading so many things which are not important. So I had no time for this essay. And this 50 60 marks that I told you in the beginning, essay is such a thing which is such an ignored topic, that 90% of the candidates do not practice essay writing from the beginning. The time, if you have finished 4 months, time is now actually. You should practice essay writing now only, because essay, I have seen many candidates who get edge from others. Maybe they have same more or less similar marks in GS, but due to essay, the person has got 50 to 60 marks extra more. Now, 50 to 60 marks is such a huge difference, It might make you last ranker in the list too. It might bring you to top 50. So do not ignore essay. Practice it in the beginning. Give it some time, because essay will not only help you in getting marks in essay is also a writing practice. Essay also helps you in revising lot of topics, because most of the topics will be something from the current affairs. And while writing, your lot of things will come. Suppose it's a topic from polity. More or less, the topic will be from international relation or politics, some social thing. But you will be, while writing, you will find that okay, might be some article in the constitution that I should have written. You will remember it vaguely. If you remember it vaguely in the exam directly, it's of no use. But if you do this during preparation, you can go back and you will find many ways how to improve your essay writing skill. And do not be overconfident. I was overconfident, and in fact, one of my very close friends who in the end could not qualify, who I told could write a novel also, he never got good marks in essay. I do not know till now why he did not get, but one thing was for sure, that he was overconfident. But okay, I am so good in English, I will write good essay. No, that will not work. You have to prepare. This will help you getting good marks not only in essay but in GS part also. Another thing is ethics. Essay and ethics are most ignored things. We don't read these things because we think they are. It's very easy. Ethics actually it also carries equal marks than another GS1 or GS2. So give it some respect. And yeah, ethics and essay a lot of times they coincide. Lot of things you learn in ethics that can be used in the essay, and sometimes what you do in writing essay that is useful in ethics. So don't ignore ethics. How you can do ethics, I will tell you. It's there somewhere. The distraction will be there. So many news items, and all of them will appear to be important. That is why I told you to remember your syllabus. All of them are not important, or rely on the current affairs magazines, because there are some intelligent people who are working. No, you should have a good magazine, obviously, and you rely on your coaching teachers. They will be doing that work for you. You don't have to invest your time into that, which is important. They will tell you study that. Another distraction is there are so many books in the market. If somebody, some of you have gone to Delhi, I got distracted. There are so many books. Somebody will say that this book in environment, this is very new, this is very good. Somebody will say that one. There are a lot of people I saw, they bought so many books and they're reading, trying to read everything, but not getting any marks in those subjects. So do not get distracted. And then you will be reading a lot of articles online of successful candidates. Everybody will suggest you something else. And I would tell you that none of them are important. You follow any candidate, it's good enough. His suggestion is good enough. Another candidate you follow, his suggestion is also good enough. You just have to be limited to certain number of books only. From my view, I made a small list of must-read books that you must read. Like G.C. Leong in geography, it's very crispy, very precise, but every line is important. And I saw that in PT and even in mains, questions are coming from that for world geography. But if you have revised it multiple times, you will be able to answer, I think, 90% of the questions. NCRT, geography, history, art and culture, NCRT, PT, mostly they ask from history and art and ancient history. It comes from that only. That I think you already know. Pawan would have told you which book to read. DD Basu or Lakshmikant, any one of them you should follow. Okay, public administration students, you must read Mohit Bhattacharya because it's a brilliant book. I read it, I think, 4 times or 5 times. It's a brilliant book, and this again will help you in polity, writing quality answers also because of paper two. So this is a must-read book. For economics, I personally use class notes only. I hated economics because it was very confusing for me. I did not like to. There's so many terminologies are there. So economics, I just studied from. We had a good teacher. I think you should also do that way. Use your class notes. And that time, Bruna's website was popular. He used to write in a funny way, and it helped me actually. So there's no problem. So you can have some source from the internet also, but there is no proper book. I also bought one book and I never read it actually. I don't think there is any single book which you will understand. Another problem with economics is that you will start reading budget and economic survey. It's not very useful. You will spend lot of time in reading every chapter of. Pawan will tell you, and he used to come read economic survey. It is very good to read, but if you do not have time, like you don't have cut your time from your revision or writing practice. If you have still have time, you should read, but don't. It's not that important. Somebody is preparing the synopsis. Use that. Do smart preparation rather than laborious preparation. For ethics, there is one Harvard video. What's the right thing to do? I'm sure you might always already be aware. If you read that, I had the class of ethics. Some teacher came. He taught a lot of theories. You also will have a teacher for teaching that. But if you see this video, most of those theories are covered in this video. I think it's an 8-hour video. It goes through many questions, and a lot of concepts will be clarified in this video only. So I think even if you prepare notes from this video, it will greatly help you. And in ethics, other than this, what you have to do is that you remember some quotes of some great people: Gandhi, Buddha, Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose. You remember some 15, 30, 25, 30 codes, and you try to put it here and there like anything, because in ethics especially, this is the thing that some theory, some practical thing from Indian history, so have some Indian perspective. Thomas Aquinas said so and so. That's not important actually, because how it is important for our this current time. Was in history, he is in different country, so you have to appear to be as much Indian as possible. Of course, you are. And ethics is like nobody can tell you actually what is the right answer. The evaluator also doesn't know what is the right answer. It's actually art of impressive writing. You have to be impressive. That's why I told you that essay will help you in ethics also, because you have to impress. The answer should be good. There is no right or wrong thing. You have to give positive and negative side, both views, and finally you have to take one side, either positive or negative. But you should be able to explain that side. That's all. That's only give two, three quotes here and there to justify yourself. And ethics is such an ignored. This lot of candidates will leave it for last. I also did that mistake. And again, one of our batchmates, rank three, he became rank three only because of ethics. Because I think he got at least 25 to 30 marks more than the second who came second in ethics. So don't ignore this. It's a very, very great opportunity to gain an edge. Do not do endless reading. Do not try to become Pandit of every topic. UPSC does not check your depth of knowledge, it checks your breadth of knowledge, how many things you have read, not how deep you have gone. As I have written here also, whether you read Rajiv Ahir or Bipin Chandra, it doesn't matter, but you should read it 5 times at least. Don't read both. Okay, what will hinder you? There are a lot of insecurities involved with the process of preparation. Every day you will have fear. I will qualify, I will not qualify. You will always, many times, you will underestimate yourself. Underestimating is better than overestimating yourself. Let You will also find that so and so are doing better than me. In fact, in my coaching institute itself, I was not getting the topmost marks. Some other guys were getting, and also used to think. But in the end, I qualified and they did not qualify. But there is something else actually. Well, you should not get discouraged by that thing. That okay, some other student is very good, so I will not be able to get through, and he will be able to get through. Everything is crap. You just stick to the basic, your smart preparation strategy. Just stick to it. Forget all those distractions. And okay, another your friends will tell, I have covered this topic. Have you covered this topic? This thing is very good in this book, that book. And you will start feeling depressed that okay, oh, see, he has covered so many things. I have not covered those things. You again don't to get tempted by those things, because you build your own future through your own strategy. You devote yourself, forget any kind of negative distraction. Whatever gives you positive, brings positivity to your mind, try to follow that only. If possible, even try to read some motivational books. There are a lot of there in the market, but don't spend a lot of time in that. I think UPSC and the joy of clearing UPSC is such a big motivation. The clearing UPSC exam is such an experience that throughout the lives of a civil servant, they cherish that moment. They always take the name of that single exam. They forget every board exam, everything else, even their jobs. This is the only exam. This itself is a very big motivator. So you should not demotivate yourself at any cost. These insecurities are in a way good, because unless you are fearing, how else you are going to put better effort? Okay, if, initially you will feel that okay, you are thrown into a sea, and you don't know how to swim. This you now currently you might have that kind of feeling. I also had that, how what to read, what this process, this flux. You will all for 6 to 7 to 8 months you will be in a flux. what to do, what not to do, everything. Somebody else is telling some new thing, some new teacher is coming, he's telling something different, I am thinking something. So many things will go on, but this is a process everyone has to go through. In the end, you will have a clarity. You just only important thing is don't stop. Keep continue your preparation with full motivation and full dedication. You do not have time for movie. At least I did not watch any movie during this whole year of preparation. And don't waste your time in Indian news channels. Indian means I mean private news channels. You can follow Rajya Sabha TV. It has some very good debates. Lok Sabha TV, 1 o'clock that time when I was preparing, it used to have some very nice debates. I used to prepare notes from that also. On the even if you don't study anything on current affairs, you follow the magazine and you follow these two things, Rajya Sabha TV and Lok Sabha TV. Their debates only a lot of they bring very quality personnel into those debates, and they give you very beautiful thoughts that if you try to find from the books it will take more time. So you should, I would suggest you to follow those debates. Lok Sabha, I am forgetting the names also, but you are smart enough to find them. Okay. Then only three of my favorite quotes of my lifetime that helped me in during my preparation is Swami Vivekananda's quote that in a day when you do not come across any problems, you can be sure that you are traveling in a wrong path. Now, every day you will feel you have a problem, and that is the right thing actually. If you are very happy and you think everything is right, that means something is wrong. And this is most important. Winston Churchill's quotation that success is going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. From now till you have given means every day you will have failure. You write a test, you get very bad marks. No, this will carry on. You today you might be the worst student, worst candidate. You might be getting the least marks among all those who are preparing, but still it is possible that by the time you write the exam, you are not that. You have moved far ahead of a number of students. It is quite possible. Perseverance is very important. So you do not have to lose your enthusiasm, but carry on.